Hello and welcome back to Arsenal Daily News, where we bring you the latest breaking news, tactical analysis, and insider information about everything happening at the Emirates Stadium. Today we have an absolutely packed show for you that you cannot afford to miss. We're going to be covering some massive developments that have emerged over the last 24 hours. And trust me when I say this, some of these stories are going to shock you, some are going to frustrate you, and some might just give you real hope about Arsenal's immediate future. We have got exclusive insights from the legendary Fabrizio Romano, who has been dropping some significant updates about Arsenal's transfer plans. We're talking about potential signings that could transform the squad, the latest on outgoing players, and what Mikel Arteta is planning behind the scenes as we approach a crucial period of the season. But that is not all. We are also going to dive deep into the controversial moments from Arsenal's recent matches, including that explosive tackle incident involving Hwang that has divided opinion across English football. Former Premier League referee Mark Clattenburg has given his expert verdict, and what he had to say is absolutely damning for the officials involved. And if that was not enough, we need to have a serious conversation about Gabriel Martinelli. The Brazilian winger finds himself at a crossroads in his Arsenal career after performance that left Mikel Arteta visibly frustrated. We're going to analyze what went wrong, what the statistics really tell us, and what this means for his future in the starting 11. There are also updates on injuries, tactical shifts that Arteta is considering, and how all of this impacts Arsenal's push for Champions League qualification and potential silverware this season. So make sure you stick around until the very end, because we're going to break down every single detail, give you our honest analysis, and tell you exactly what Arsenal fans need to know right now. This is Arsenal Daily News, and we are about to get into it. Let's go. Arsenal Daily News. The Hwang tackle controversy. Hello and welcome back to Arsenal Daily News. Today we are diving deep into one of the most controversial moments from Arsenal's recent match against Wolves. This is a story about a tackle that has divided opinion, a decision that has frustrated fans, and yet another example of the inconsistency that continues to plague the Premier League's use of VAR technology. Before we get into the details, I want to remind you that what we are discussing today is not just about one incident. It is about a pattern of decision-making that affects Arsenal and every other team in the league. So stick with me until the end, because we're going to break down exactly why this matters so much. The match context. Let me set the scene for you. Arsenal hosted Wolves at the Emirates, and if you were expecting a comfortable victory for the Gunners, you would have been in for a surprise. This was not the dominant Arsenal performance that many had predicted. In fact, Mikel Arteta's men struggled for large parts of this game. The match was tight, tense, and frustrating for the home fans. Arsenal were not playing their usual free-flowing football. Wolves came with a plan, and for much of the game, that plan was working. The visitors were organized, they were competitive, and they had moments where they genuinely threatened. In the end, Arsenal managed to secure all 3 points, but it took 2 own goals from Wolves to get them over the line. That tells you everything you need to know about how difficult this match was for the Gunners. This was not Arsenal at their best. This was Arsenal grinding out a result when things were not going their way. Hwang performance. Now let me talk about Hwang because he is central to our story today. The South Korean forward was Wolves' biggest threat throughout this match. He was the player Arsenal had to worry about most. He was the one causing problems, the one making runs, the one looking dangerous. In the first half, Hwang had a golden opportunity that really could have changed the entire complexion of the game. Picture this. He found himself with space, real space, the kind of space that attackers dream about. He had the chance to run half the length of the pitch on his own. There was green grass ahead of him, the Arsenal goal in his sights, and the Emirates holding its breath. But when the moment came, when he had to deliver, his shot was weak. David Raya, the Arsenal goalkeeper, saved it comfortably. It was the kind of chance that Hwang will have been thinking about later. The kind that makes you wonder what if. What if he had struck it cleanly? What if he had placed it better? What if he had shown more composure? That miss was significant because of what happened later. Because in the second half, Hwang would be involved in an incident that has since dominated all the discussion about this match. The controversial tackle. Let me describe exactly what happened. Arsenal were getting frustrated. You could feel it in the stadium. The game was not opening up for them. They were struggling to create clear chances. The clock was ticking, and Wolves were holding firm. Then came the moment. Hwang Hee-chan went in with a challenge on Miles Lewis-Skelly, the Arsenal teenager. This was not just any challenge. This was a dangerous-looking tackle, the kind that makes you wince when you see it, the kind that makes you reach for the replay button immediately. Hwang had his studs up. That is the first thing you need to know. His foot was high, his stud was showing, and he caught Lewis-Skelly on the ankle. These are the details that matter. These are the facts of what happened. Now, the referee had to make a decision. The VAR officials had to review it. Everyone in the stadium was watching and waiting. What would they decide? Would they see this as a yellow card offense or something more serious? Both the referee and the VAR agreed. They decided it was only a yellow card. Hwang stayed on the pitch. The game continued. But that decision has sparked a huge debate, and that is what we need to talk about now. Mark Clattenburg's expert opinion. Enter Mark Clattenburg. For those who do not know, Clattenburg is a former Premier League referee. He has officiated some of the biggest matches in English football. He has been in the middle for cup finals, title deciders, and crucial European matches. He knows what he is talking about when it comes to refereeing decisions. Clattenburg was asked to give his opinion on this incident, and he did not hold back. Speaking exclusively to Arsenal Insider, he made his position crystal clear. In his expert opinion, this should have been a red card. No doubt about it. Let me quote his exact words here, because they are important. He said that Hwang Hee-chan's challenge on Miles Lewis-Skelly meets all the criteria of a red card. All the criteria. That is a strong statement from someone who knows the laws of the game inside and out. But Clattenburg did not just say it should be a red card and leave it at that. He explained his reasoning in detail, and this is where it gets really interesting. Breaking down the criteria, Clattenburg identified 3 key elements that he says were present in this challenge: speed, force, and malice. Let me break each of these down for you. First, speed. The challenge came in fast. Hwang was not going in gently or carefully. There was momentum behind this tackle. There was pace. And when a challenge comes in with speed, the potential for injury increases significantly. Second, force. This was not a soft touch. This was not a glancing contact. Hwang's foot hit Lewis-Skelly's leg with real force. The kind of force that can cause serious damage. The kind of force that referees are supposed to protect players from. Third, and perhaps most controversially, malice. Now this is a strong word. Malice suggests intent. It suggests that the challenge was not just mistimed or clumsy, but actually deliberate. Clattenburg is saying that Hwang knew what he was doing. But there is more to Clattenburg's analysis. He pointed out the technical details of the challenge. He noted that Hwang's foot was high. He noted that the studs were showing. He noted exactly where the impact occurred on Lewis-Skelly's leg. All of these details matter because they go to the heart of what the laws of the game say about dangerous play. The rules are designed to protect players from challenges that can clearly endanger their safety. And according to Clattenburg, this challenge clearly endangered Lewis-Skelly's safety. The alternative action. Here is where Clattenburg's analysis gets even more interesting. He did not just criticize the challenge. He explained what Hwang could have done differently. This is important because it speaks to the question of whether the challenge was unavoidable or whether Hwang had other options. Clattenburg said that if Hwang wanted to avoid the contact, then he could have lowered his foot. He could have turned his foot. He could have reduced the impact of the studs. He could have changed the impact point on the leg. In other words, there were choices available. Hwang did not have to go in the way he did. He could have made the challenge safer. He could have protected his opponent, but he chose not to. And that, according to Clattenburg, is why this should have been a red card. This is a crucial point because it addresses the defense that is often made in these situations. People say that players cannot always control their movements in the heat of the moment. They say that sometimes challenges just happen. But Clattenburg is saying that is not good enough. Players have a responsibility to make challenges safely, and Hwang failed in that responsibility. The VAR frustration. Now we come to the bigger picture, and this is what really matters for Arsenal fans and for everyone who loves English football. Clattenburg called this another example of the VAR frustration in the Premier League. Another example, not the first, not the last, but another in a long line of controversial decisions. He specifically mentioned that decisions are not consistent on a match-by-match basis. And this is the heart of the problem. Consistency, or rather, the lack of it. Think about it. We have all seen red cards given for challenges that look less dangerous than this one. We have all seen players sent off for tackles where the studs were lower, where the force was less, where the speed was slower. And yet in those cases, the referee and the VAR decided it was a red card. So why was this different? Why did Hwang stay on the pitch when other players in similar situations have been sent off? This is the question that frustrates fans. This is the question that undermines confidence in the officiating. VAR was supposed to solve these problems. It was supposed to bring consistency. It was supposed to catch the clear and obvious errors. But instead, it seems to have created a new set of problems. Now we have inconsistency at two levels. We have inconsistency from the referee on the pitch, and we have inconsistency from the VAR officials in their booth. The impact on the match. Let me bring this back to the specific impact on this game. Hwang stayed on the pitch after this challenge. That meant Wolves kept 11 players on the field. That meant they maintained their defensive shape. That meant Arsenal still had to break down a full team. Now we cannot know what would have happened if Hwang had been sent off. Maybe Arsenal would have scored earlier. Maybe they would have won more comfortably. Maybe the game would have opened up completely. Or maybe Wolves would have defended even deeper and made it even harder. But the point is that Arsenal were denied the advantage they should have had. If this was a red card, and Clattenburg says it clearly was, then Arsenal should have played against 10 men for a significant portion of the match. That is a huge advantage in modern football. That changes tactics. That changes substitutions. That changes everything. And remember, Arsenal were already struggling in this game. They were frustrated. They were finding it hard to create chances. Playing against 10 men might have been exactly what they needed to unlock the Wolves' defense. Miles Lewis-Skelly. I want to spend a moment talking about Miles Lewis-Skelly because he is the player who was on the receiving end of this challenge. He is a teenager. He is still developing. He is still learning the game at the highest level. For a young player like Lewis-Skelly, these experiences matter. Being caught by a studs-up challenge to the ankle is not just painful in the moment. It can affect confidence. It can affect how you approach challenges in future games. It can make you more hesitant, more cautious, more worried about getting hurt. Arsenal have invested in Lewis-Skelly's development. They see him as part of their future. They want him to become a key player for club. But that development can be set back by injuries, especially injuries that come from dangerous challenges that should have been punished more severely. The fact that the challenge was only given a yellow card sends a message to young players that this kind of tackle is acceptable, that it will only result in a booking, that there are no serious consequences. That is not the right message to send. The broader pattern. Now I want to zoom out even further, because this is not just about one tackle in one game. This is about a pattern that Arsenal fans have noticed throughout the season, and in previous seasons as well. How many times have we seen decisions go against Arsenal? How many times have we seen penalties not given? How many times have we seen red cards not shown? How many times have we been left scratching our heads wondering how the officials could have missed something so obvious? And it is not just Arsenal fans who feel this way. Fans of every club in the Premier League have similar stories. Every fan base can point to decisions that went against them. Every fan base feels like they've been hard done by at some point. This is why Clattenburg's comments about consistency are so important. If the rules were applied consistently, fans would accept bad luck. They would accept that sometimes decisions go for you, and sometimes they go against you. But when the rules seem to change from game to game, from referee to referee, from VAR official to VAR official, that is when trust breaks down. What Arsenal did despite the decision, despite the controversy, despite the frustration, despite feeling they should have had numerical advantage, Arsenal found a way to win. That speaks to the character of this team. That speaks to the mentality that Mikel Arteta has built. They did not let the decision derail them. They did not collapse. They did not start complaining and lose focus. They kept playing. They kept pushing. They kept believing that a goal would come. And eventually, it did. 2 own goals gave Arsenal the 3 points. Not the prettiest way to win, not the most convincing performance, but 3 points nonetheless. In a title race, these are the games that matter. These are the games that champions win even when they are not at their best. These are the games where you have to grind, where you have to fight, where you have to find a way. Arsenal found a way, but they should not have had to work as hard as they did. With 11 against 10, this game becomes much easier. The officials made their job harder than it needed to be. The call for change. So, where do we go from here? Clattenburg's comments add to the growing chorus of voices calling for improvements to VAR and to refereeing standards in general. Former players, current managers, pundits, and fans are all saying the same thing. Something needs to change. The technology is there. The capability is there. What is missing is consistency in how it is applied. What is missing is clear guidelines that everyone understands. What is missing is accountability when mistakes are made. Other leagues around the world use VAR more effectively. They have better communication. They have clearer protocols. They have more consistent decision-making. If they can do it, why cannot the Premier League do it? The Premier League is supposed to be the best league in the world. It has the most money, the best players, the biggest stadiums, and the most passionate fans. But when it comes to officiating, it has fallen behind. Arsenal fans deserve better. Wolves fans deserve better. Every fan in every stadium deserves to know that the rules will be applied fairly and consistently. That is not too much to ask. Conclusion. So let me wrap this up. Hwang made a challenge on Miles Lewis-Skelly that former Premier League referee Mark Clattenburg says should have been a red card. The challenge had speed, force, and according to Clattenburg, malice. It was high, it was studs up, and it endangered the safety of the Arsenal player. But the referee and the VAR decided it was only a yellow card. Hwang stayed on the pitch. Arsenal had to play against 11 men instead of 10. They still won, but they had to work harder than they should have. This is another example of the VAR frustration that is undermining confidence in Premier League officiating. It is another example of inconsistency. It is another example of decisions that do not match what we have seen in other games. Mark Clattenburg's expert opinion carries weight. He has been there. He has made these decisions. He knows what the laws say and how they should be applied. And he is telling us that this was wrong. Arsenal fans have every right to feel frustrated, not because they did not win. They did win, but because they were denied an advantage they should have had, because the rules were not applied correctly, because, once again, a decision went against them. The bigger question is whether anything will change. Will the Premier League learn from incidents like this? Will they improve their VAR protocols? Will they train referees better? Will they ensure more consistency? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. These conversations will continue. These debates will continue. And incidents like this will continue to happen until real change is made. Thank you for watching Arsenal Daily News. If you enjoyed this analysis, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss our content. Leave a comment below telling me what you think about this tackle and whether you agree with Mark Clattenburg. I will see you in the next video. Until then, keep supporting the Arsenal.